Here we go.
Hey there, it's Aubrey Bracco from Survivor Co. Wrong. Grab some giant clams, pick some mangoes, sit back and relax with Dwaine and Dave on Survivor Talk with D&D. With Survivor knowledge this tasty, we're sure you'll make it through the whole show, just as long as Mark the Chicken.
Hello, welcome to the show. We're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. My name is Dwaine, and I'm here with my aforementioned best friend, David. How you doing, David?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. I like the beanie tonight. Looks great. The red shirt. What's on the red shirt? Is that what is that? A lightning bolt? Nice. You're looking good today.
That is?
What?
Do
What,
we
David?
know who the lightning bolt is?
Heck no. Captain America? Amazing Man? Lightning Man?
Oh, God.
I'm just going to let Dan take care of that.
All right. Tonight we're talking about episode 13, Slay the Survivor Dragon. And we are going to read, listen to, and discuss your thoughts on the show as well. Of course, we have iTunes reviews, the D&D challenge update, Pondering Ponderosa, and of course, we're giving an official Survivor buff, courtesy of the fine folks over at buffusa.com, to one of our lucky feedbackers. So we do have two guests tonight. Welcome to them. Our first, you know him from Survivor Worlds Apart, Dan Foley.
Hey.
Hello, Dan.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Are you in Australia or something this morning?
Crikey. No, it's just the greetings of salutations. That's all.
There you go. So Dan is at work, it looks like.
It's like
either that or you have
somebody. It's like having somebody Jewish wish you a happy Hanukkah. It's greetings of good tides.
There you go. Next, we have another guest. He writes on our website. He is also the winner of the latest Durham Warriors Survival Challenge. His microphone is muted, so hopefully he'll unmute it before he says hello. Ryan Kaiser.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. We did have you on the show before.
Like, you know, I'm on SNL. Like, thanks for having me back. Second time hosting SNL.
Yeah. Well, you know, we are right up there with SNL.
That's why you go live from 4 different states.
Yeah. We're going to open with a presidential debate. Whatever. Anyway. It's good to have our guests with us. We are going to talk about the show tonight. However you found us, whether it's your first time or you've been here since the beginning, thanks for tuning in. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because it's going to be fun. Visit our website, survivortalkwithdnd.com or stwdd.com, and there you can watch our shows. You can get all our episodes, our blogs, including Ryan's, links to our Facebook group, Twitter, and D&D store, etc. And if you want to support our shows via Patreon or Amazon or PayPal, all those links are there as well. So stwdd.com or just Google Survivor Talk. We should be the #1 first. David, we owe a few shout-outs before we start talking about the episode. Just a few shout-outs. You want to hear them?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. 3. Count them, 3 new patrons. Ryan Kaiser.
Oh, this is so unexpected.
Yeah, who paid to be on the show tonight.
I thought you were paying me.
It doesn't work that way, Ryan.
That's not the contract that I signed.
No.
Yeah, get used to that one, pal.
Your payment was getting to be on with Dan. That's your payment.
Really?
That's
That's
called punishment, dude.
Yeah.
That's not payment.
That's punishment.
Also, Gwendolyn Stevens. Thank you, Gwendolyn. And a lady named Ann. No last name. Don't know where she lives, but it's Ann. Thank you, Ann, Gwendolyn, and Ryan. We also want to thank Tom.
Beautiful patrons.
Yes. Also, thank Tom. Is it Hogan or Haugen? It's Haugen. What do y'all think? I'm thinking Hogan. Haugen?
Hogan.
Hey, Gwendolyn's in the chat. Hi, Gwendolyn in the chat. Okay, well, I'm going to say Haugen.
In the chat.
He made a one-time donation via PayPal. Wow. PayPal.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Freudian slip
And
there.
he wrote us a note.
Ouch.
It says, if you guys can make the one-time donation link a little harder to find, no one would ever find it.
Wow.
So thanks for the awesome
I'm a happy
podcast.
customer.
that's in my top 2 podcasts every week, Tom. So thanks to Tom, I have changed the website, and now at the top right it says support D&D, and you can click on that. Next week we will be announcing who will be doing our show intro for season 34. We have had, well, can y'all name who we've had? Anybody? No. Okay. Tony Vlachos, Kelly Wentworth, Mike Holloway, Jeff Varner, Audrey Bracco, and I can't tell you who it is next. I'll tell you next week.
You already told me.
I know I already told you. And I'll tell the patrons next Wednesday. I'll tell everybody else on the show.
They got approval, or they'll know next week if they can do it?
He and or she has already gotten approval and is already recording them.
Man, you would be so bad as a spy. That's why you use the word they.
Whatever.
Nice correction.
No, I said that on purpose. He and or she. I did that on purpose. Okay. Way to go, David.
I think you kind of ruined it, David.
Yeah, David, way to go. All right, let's talk about this episode. Nobody got the show title.
No.
David, are you with us?
Yep.
Okay.
There's 3 other people here now, so
I know. We have initial thoughts.
Mark watched it like 3 times trying to find it, and I think Will probably got it, but probably it's in a cutting room floor scene.
I think I saw like Brett say something about some dragon, but I don't know.
No, he didn't say dragon. He said snake.
Quote. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, he said cut the head off the snake.
Okay, they only had 48 minutes to shove in 2 challenges, 2 tribal councils, and barely any camp time. So,
yeah. What? Dadgummit, why couldn't we have had a medevac?
Wow.
I'm still trying to figure out the math of how they're going to pull this off with one final episode and all the people that are still left in the game.
Yeah,
they did it last year. It was very rushed.
Yeah, I would figure we're going to lose 2 people in the first 25 minutes or 20 minutes.
We're going to have to lose 3 people next week to get to the final 3.
Right, but it's 2 hours, so we'll get to the final tribal at least by 9 o'clock. Hour in, so that gives us 3 challenges and a lot of quick camp life.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no rewards.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Oh, yeah, they're done. So much for stealing the reward.
Yeah. So I've got a couple initial thoughts, and feel free to chime in if you have any. No matter how much he begs you, you cannot bring Jay to the end. No matter how much he begs, no matter what kind of amazing social game he plays at you, you cannot take him to the end. And he was playing a mean social game, and it was having some effect.
I don't think anyone will. I mean, Adam is smarter than that. I mean, I know Adam was talking about maybe going to the end together, but I can't see him doing it.
No.
That would be almost as dumb as, and I'm sorry for saying it, for Hannah wanting to get rid of Sunday. That was stupid. I think that was foolishness. But bringing Jay to the end would be worse.
Yes.
Would be absolutely. That's just game suicide.
Yeah. All right. Another initial thought. I love how confident David has become in his game. David is a completely new person than he was in those first couple episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that he would go. I thought he'd surprise people and go far. I didn't think he would do this well, as far as strategically. I mean, he's really I think he's been one of the driving forces of the game, and I wouldn't have thought that from his first train wreck of an episode.
Yeah, I mean, he's so confident right now that I'm, you know me, I've gotten some hate mail for Dwaine, you're so mean to David or whatever, and I'm not. I didn't like the way he was playing. Now I love the way he's playing.
He's confident in his game. He's not confident that people are going to do what he tells them. But at the same time, last night, he didn't really have to tell anybody what to do because everybody else had plans for him. My initial thought from last night is, are Ken and Hannah going to be Cambodia's Spencer and Tasha and go with Dave to the end and watch him win?
I think they are.
My goodness. And because Jay had it right when Jay.
I don't think so.
Well, Jay had it right when he said, "I'd almost rather have 2 people covering my back than have this immunity necklace." How nice is that?
Well, right now, I mean, that is huge for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally had to do nothing last night, and people just kept saying, David saved me here, David saved me there. He is the classic Cochran. He is the underdog who started off as the wallflower and has emerged into a bona fide threat. And his name keeps being brought up week after week, and yet he continues to survive. And the fact that they could have gotten rid of either David or Jay last night and didn't, I'm sorry, that just shows the inexperience of these people.
Yeah.
That was foolishness. Absolute foolishness.
I'm looking forward to whenever we get to that part of the show discussing why you would pick Sunday over David. It'll be interesting.
Sorry to jump ahead.
No,
that's called
you're fine.
telecasting.
One of my initial reactions this week was Dan and I talked about a month ago about what the temperature was of the season, how we thought the season was going. He just sent me a random text, and I said, it's kind of slow at times. It's not quite predictable, but it's not. But it reminded me of a movie that's got a lot of espionage, a lot of privacy, a lot of quietness, but it got better. Things started showing up. Things started happening. They're like, wow, that's a neat payoff. And it's funny because I've been waiting for the season where you have these top tier players or people that look like or play like they're top tier, and they get taken out. And I'm like, yes, that's who you take out. You don't lollygag around that person. You take them out. You get rid of them. Until last night. Last night's 2 vote outs, I'm sorry, made no sense to me. When Will's got his resume on his forehead, and Sunday, even though, and I will never be caught like I did 2 years ago saying somebody's not playing. Steve Helling read me the riot act for saying Kelly Wigglesworth wasn't playing, and she was playing somehow. But anyway, Sunday is playing. She might be playing a subdued game, but Probst said everything except the last person that makes the big move is going to win, because you don't want to be the first person to make the big move. You almost want to be the last person. Maybe that's what Sunday was working towards, but Sunday was playing. Look at Zeke's exit interview. She was playing a game. Now, she wasn't in the spotlight, but she was playing. But still, why would you, Hannah, I love you, but why would you take out somebody that you could probably beat in the end? Who else are you going to beat?
Thank you. I got to tell you, though, David, I agree with you 50%.
Okay.
I think the Sunday vote was foolish, absolutely foolish, because you're right. People are now emerging as strong players who can win this game at this point. Sunday is the classic GOAT at that stage of the game. I mean, and again, the captain coattails strategy has worked for people. Sandra Diaz won the game twice doing it. People say that Michelle won doing the captain coattails routine. And, maybe she could have made an argument to that extent.
I think I'll defend Hannah here. I think I can see why, and I think Adam proved why she was at least somewhat correct in her logic, because he was going to take Sunday as a go. I think if they had voted out David, Adam would have went to Sunday and Brett and said, hey, let's vote out Jay, Ken, and then Hannah, and then Adam would have dragged Brett and Sunday to the end, and he would have won. So I think Hannah was correct in Sunday being a GOAT. That was a threat to her because it would affect her more than it would Adam or someone else in the game having her stay in it.
My first reaction was, that's good, because you take out the big threats and you take out who they want to take to the end, because like Hannah said, I don't want somebody taking my spot, but at the same time, if she's keeping David and Jay and Adam, she's pretty much sitting in Sunday's chair. She's sitting in Sunday's seat. So I wanted to like the move a lot, because I like Hannah in this episode. I thought she was the person that was getting people to listen to what she had to say and doing what she wanted to do. But at the end, I felt like she just took away somebody she could possibly beat, and she's actually just going to sit in her chair. I just don't see where
like she's too many strong players with just going to the end with. From last episode, I gathered that Ken's never going to betray David, and I feel like after last night, especially, Hannah isn't either. I really don't know what her path to get to the end and win. I see what her path to get to the end is, that's just to stick with Ken and David, but to win, I don't know what she's thinking. I mean, I really, even before that, though, I don't think, even with Sunday in the game, too many people would have used her and would have used Brett than over Hannah. I mean, Hannah was almost kind of like screwed no matter what. So I think she just kind of took the path that secured her spot in the end, at least get third place and some money out of it.
Mm-hmm. And it also gave her something to be able to say, as she did say, if you if you have a decision that you want and you can talk everybody else into doing your decision, that's the thing that a winner does.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her, she also did something. She talked the rest of the group into voting her way.
Yep.
So for her, from her perspective.
But I think that's, yes, it's, it's something to put on the quote unquote resume, but you have to look at both things. You have to look at, I need to be able to get to the end. If I can't get to the end, I can't win. That's all there is to it. But if you get to the end and you're sitting between a Boston Rob and a Parvati, well, you made some really bad choices. If you're sitting in between a coach and a Russell Hantz, you're going to win. You have to be sitting between the right people. And that's the difficult part, is you've got to balance those two. So yes, to the extent that Hannah believes that Sunday could have been used against her and ended up on the jury, okay. But as far as Hannah going to the end, yeah, Hannah's just taken Sunday's seat. The other half of David's comment that I actually disagree with is I thought Will was the perfect choice. I actually said as soon as last week's episode happened, I said, Will's going home next. Right. And I've never talked to Will. I don't know anything about him. He's the youngest player to play the game. I know he didn't say it like this, but all I could hear from him was, I want to be in charge. That's all I could hear. And that's it. And you've got all these other people fighting for that position. Why do you want to throw your name into the mix? Stay back.
Right.
Let them fight. Let them fight. Be the good guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't we all three pick Will to go this week first?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, because of the way he came off last episode and that we thought he would carry it into this episode, I just think there's still too many big names out there to keep. I mean, Survivor is too smart to say, if I just get to the end, I can make my case. No, if you wait till the end to make your case, then you're going to be in third place. You've got to build your case.
Tell Michelle that.
You got to build your
Sandra
case.
That.
You got to build your case.
It happens. I mean, a captain coattails is a viable routine. It doesn't always work, but it can.
Yeah, it can.
And depending on
you still got to go with the right people. Now that Hannah's going with
Absolutely.
either Jay or Adam or Ken or David, I can't see a story she can tell that she can beat.
At this point, she's guaranteed to be the three. There's no way she ends there with Brett and Ken. So, like, one of the three kingpins is going to be there, and so she's got. I mean, sadly, she's got no shot.
Right.
Well, Gwen asked in the
I don't
chat.
think she does.
Gwen asked in the chat, who does Hannah beat? And
oh, did we just lose David?
Oh,
I think we did.
what about now?
David?
You hear me now?
What did Gwen ask?
Gwen asked in the chat room, who does Hannah beat in the final three? And I said, Will and Sunday. That's who she needs to take to the final three to win. And she's gone.
And I'm not even sure she could do that.
I think. I think Sunday could probably maybe squeak that one out. But I mean, I don't really see anybody in the merge. I don't really see that Hannah could have beat him. She's kind of like that unfortunate player who just. I mean, someone's going to be the least likely to win, and I think it's kind of.
But the way this game is going this season, there's so much respect for people making moves. There's not as much hate, depending on depending on when you go to Ponderosa. But if Hannah makes moves to blindside Adam, Jay, and David. Those three guys, you would think, my goodness, that girl did it to us. She got us. I love Jay and Adam's relationship right now because they're doing that. I hate you, but I love you because we're fighting each other. But at the same time, I'm still here and you're still here. But if Hannah pulls off moves at the end of the game, I think she could steal enough votes to win.
But I think it would have carried more weight if she got rid of a bona fide threat, not Sunday.
Right, like Adam or Jay or David, yeah.
Well, okay, but to be fair, she had to have had a good argument because they went for Sunday. So, I mean, Sunday said in Ponderosa video that they were afraid of her beating Cancer Story.
Yeah.
Kind of starting a new life and things like that. So
what was Hannah's logic?
We didn't see. There's something we didn't see that made Sunday enough of a threat where the rest of them went along with Hannah.
And again, I completely agree with that. There's not to beat that dead horse. Don't make fun of me, but clearly there was a lot that we didn't see in the edit. That must have prompted this. That it generated enough concern from people to go that road. And I just think that if Hannah had supported a stronger player and somehow taken the credit for it, or even just said, let's go after Brett. Brett's still a stronger player than Sunday, or anybody.
Yeah, I don't really know why she went so far after Sunday. I mean, I get that Sunday's a bigger probably GOAT than Brett is, but at the same time, I mean, to me, in my eyes, they're both even, where I think that had she done Brett or Sunday, either one would have been better. So why not take out the bigger physical threat in Brett, who can actually threaten Hannah getting to the end?
Right.
Yeah, she said in the secret scene. Yeah, at the end of Dalton's recap that it was the extended version of her. I don't want somebody taking my spot. That somebody might take just because they think they can beat them. And she talked about how them being a power couple, even though they're on the they should be on the bottom with Jay, but still they'd be like a power couple. And she wanted to break them up. But I agree. Why not go after Brett? If you want to, I mean, does Hannah not even think she has a chance to win a challenge? I guess not with Jay and Adam and David, 3 strong players, but why not take out Sunday? Why not take out the person that everybody might want to take because they think they can beat her?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on now. Would you have believed at the end of episode 1 that you would have referred to David as a strong competitor?
Yeah, because I said he would win an individual immunity challenge.
No, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the episode tonight.
Yeah.
Is that I love how confident he is and what a stark difference it is from the beginning.
Yes.
He's probably turned into my favorite player this season because of what a drastic change he has had. So as far as enjoying watching here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
that's
since
a bold statement.
Okay. Well, since the premiere, I think that he's played one of the more consistent games, at least from probably the swap on. I would say he's probably been the most level. I mean, he's really not been a huge target since his initial first couple of days of going crazy.
Well, up until him and Zeke went toe-to-toe. Once those two recognized the threat that the other one had, then all of a sudden he became and I mean, it felt reminiscent of the Russell-Boston Rob confrontation.
Yeah.
Right, but it's because of his good gameplay that it was a threat, though. It's not like he was playing poorly.
Oh, no, agreed. No, absolutely. It was absolutely because of they both were thinking very large. I knew Zeke's arrogance was going to bite him in the butt. I disagreed with Jeff this week with Probst because he made it sound like Will made that huge move. And as soon as the votes were read and Adam played his idol, I started to laugh hysterically because I thought, here's Will trying to say, I'm going to take control of my game. I don't want to be the GOAT. I'm going to make the big moves. And his move was completely undone by Adam. Adam completely overshadowed him because he played the idol. So even though Will flipped, it was worthless. You could say it the other way around, that Adam played his idol and it was worthless because Will flipped, but you don't remember that Will voted. You remember that Adam played the idol and kept Hannah completely safe. So the fact that I think it, again, overshadowed Will's move, and all it did was it put Will in the spotlight in a negative way because now he's a flipper. And I believe there was an incredibly intelligent and damn good-looking person that once played the game that said, flippers never win. Who was that? I don't remember. Huh.
I don't know.
Well, it wasn't Will, because Will actually had the line, I could flip back and forth all the way to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm thinking Dan is rolling over in his mail truck right now.
I was losing my mind watching that. I'm screaming at the television.
Not only that, but Will left that tribal as a man.
That's what he thought.
I went into that tribal as a high school student, but I left as a man. It's like he went to.
And then the air in his balloon quickly deflated.
Yeah. He's like, I could flip back and forth enough to win this game. And I thought, yeah,
well played, dude.
Yeah. So
flip-flopping is not a good thing. Yeah. Being a swing vote is not a good thing. Ugh, no.
All right, so what about day 34? We've got Brett talking to Sunday and Brett and Sunday talking to Adam, and I'm thinking Adam is showing great control because they're like, us three, we're all equal. And Adam's going, no, I'm better than y'all. But he kept it to himself.
Yeah.
But he kept it to himself.
He was great about it.
I know.
You know, I feel like Adam has been kind of playing the middle role pretty much like since the start of the merge. Because before he was kind of like with the new like Gen X alliance, the merge, but he's also still kind of maintaining relationships with the millennial groups. You know, kind of he wasn't really never. I wouldn't say he's like been flip flopping, but he's been really maintaining a lot of relationships between the two. Where that's why I think if he makes the end, he's got a really strong shot at winning because he has so many ties to really both sides of the group.
Right.
I like at the beginning, previously on, Probst's narration said Zeke's alliance lost to David's coalition. And if you kind of look up the definitions, like I said, the alliance is a union formed for mutual benefit, but a coalition is an alliance for combined action, especially a temporary alliance. And I agree that I think David has bounced around and tried to play with as many different people as possible. And that's what I felt like Adam was doing when he came up to the well. Now, what we didn't saw in the episode, which you can see on YouTube, on the CBS Survivor videos, is that Adam actually got busted walking up to that well because Sunday and Brett went to get water. And then Adam came up to get water as well, but he didn't have a jug because he was out hunting for idols or for clues. And they actually jokingly busted him. Oh, you don't have a jug. And he's like, yeah, I don't have a jug. And then that conversation started that we saw in the episode.
Okay.
All right. So we are at the immunity challenge, and they take the idol off Adam's neck, and Jay's looking at it like, that's mine. Soon. That is mine soon. So I got a question. How many discs do you try at once? Do you go for 3 trips, 3, 3, and 4? Do you go for 2 trips, 5 and 5? What do you
Which
do?
part? The beginning part with the
Yeah.
I was going to say the first part or the second part.
Oh man, go ahead.
I think the first part, I at least try 10 just to kind of see how I do. And if I suck, I just start over.
I would say you got to try the full load at least once.
No
but if
way.
you see everybody else
Waste of
try it,
time.
you can split it. I would definitely try it on the split, but the first time, you're going to be in trouble.
I mean, I've got a good balance. So.
There you go.
Yeah, well, after 30 some odd days and hunger and no sleep and the bug bites and the lack of water, and you get good balance now, but wait till you get out there, pal.
Nah, I'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, I would have at least tried the 5 and 5. I would have started that road.
I think I would have.
That way, you're only taking 2 trips, and I've got faith in my balance as well, and I would have at least tried it.
Is my sound better?
Yeah.
Okay, I would have tried 5, and if I couldn't do 5, then I would have done 3, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So, and then on the second one, I would have done 5 and 5.
Now, Dan, do they let y'all do anything towards practicing or prepping for these challenges? Do you get to touch anything before the challenge starts?
Actually, Probst did tell us that, and I'll quote him. He said, "We were the most tactile group of people they've ever had play the game. We were constantly touching things. We would touch balls or handles or the surface of things. Yes, stop laughing, you pig. We would touch anything we could. We couldn't pick them up, but we would put our hands on the surface of things." And it was probably 20 some odd days into it. And he actually said we were the most tactile group they've ever had. He just found it unusual because most people just kept their hands off of things.
But I guess David didn't get to try rolling any disc into that slot because his technique for that really left a lot.
It was horrific.
Oh my goodness!
He's rolling it backwards. What
I'm like,
are you
David,
thinking,
look
dude?
at Jay. Look at Jay. Just look at Jay.
And Brad and everybody else that made it there.
Yeah.
You roll it towards what you want, not against it.
Yeah.
If the
That's why
disc
his
comes
things
back,
get
you're rolling it
flopped
the
over.
wrong way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Or as soon as you let it go and it wobbles like a fish out of water. How about that one?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Jay's
So
like,
Jay-
I just did this like a month ago at the park. Yeah.
So Jay wins immunity. Will is so far back, he doesn't even hear that Will wins. Keeps playing for a while, probably. He's so
Jay
far.
wins.
Jay wins, right? We got 3.
Yeah,
for,
Will was not even a competitor.
wow. And Jay gets the last confessional. I'm going to hold on to this idol until I really have to use it, or until Adam outplays me, so I have to use it.
Right.
So, and then we get a Rogue One commercial, and I'm really confused. I don't know anybody in the Rogue One. So, what is Rogue One about?
It's a Star Wars story talking about the building of the Death Star, and the rebels are trying to blow it up. But
okay. So it's before A New Hope.
Clearly,
It's between 3 and 4. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And I'll be seeing it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Next Saturday.
You know, and what boggles my mind, it's like the movie Titanic. Okay, we know the ship sinks. Okay, Rogue One, clearly they failed to blow it up because it's in episode 4. So the rebels fail. And I mean,
but you still have to watch it because you don't know how they got there.
That's right.
She was the girl in the new Dan Brown movie, Inferno.
Oh. Did Hanks have a different hair for that one too?
No, I think it's in his contract. It has to be the same.
All right, back at camp.
Yes.
Kim lamenting.
Camp, sorry.
Kim lamenting that he doesn't really know what's going on.
Okay, this happened a couple times, if I could just interject here, because all you Ken lovers, he's a great guy. He's got a beautiful brother, and he's probably going to return for a fan versus favorite season.
Oh, God.
But this guy does not have a clue. I'm sorry.
I don't know. He started out okay, then he just kind of died. I don't know what happened.
No, I disagree. I absolutely had zero expectations of Ken. I'm like, okay, another freaking model. He's just a face. That's all he is. And
that's what I thought at first too. I think he kind of rose back from that and then kind of fell down after 5 or 6.
No, I still think he was trying because he was at the bottom of the food chain, so he wasn't as strong of a player because he didn't have a lot of the opportunity. But I think he made a real good use of what little position he had. It wasn't until last week's episode I'm like, oh, Ken, what are you thinking? This kid's willing to flip, and you're blowing up his game just to piss him off and drive him away. Shut up. Up until then, I still had faith in that guy. And then last week, it just gone. It's like the balloon got popped and done.
Last night, he just had a couple lines where he just I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Or his line was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah.
Can you say something about Jay not winning?
Maybe he's just tired. It's been a long 35 days.
Yeah, I'm glad the necklace is around my neck instead of Jay's. He's a younger version of me.
Yeah.
What else are you going to say? Yeah. I'm sure they're tired and they're hungry because that's what he blamed his misspelling of the title of the season for. But
somebody say it.
Millennials.
Go ahead, somebody make a parallel for me.
You mean the slide puzzle? No, we don't have to do that slide puzzle.
Oh, the Outlast puzzle.
Yeah. At least you didn't.
Hey, listen.
At least you didn't blame it on his job. Yeah.
I gave credit to the job. That's different.
Oh,
totally different.
Right.
So
I could write backwards, forwards, upside down. I could read that.
But at the same time, David, if he's playing it that way, is playing his relationship to Ken the right way because he's got that guy on his side. He will. Whatever happens, I want to come back from tribal with David. I mean, that's what Hannah was saying when everybody up here's done something against each other or done something with each other, but you want to play with somebody who wants to play with you. That's who you want to keep. And Ken wants to play with David.
Right.
So David was right when he said relationships are important. And he's got that with Ken. So lock that in, buddy, because Ken's going to the end with David if he goes there.
Yeah. And he's got it with Hannah, too.
I wonder if Ken just doesn't really know that he can't win, or he's just not really as focused on that so much as just maintaining his
Ryan, you don't understand, Ryan. According to Ken, he deserves to win because he is so honorable, and therefore he will win because that is the way karma works.
That's going to be
He definitely has a very, very inflated ego. There's no two ways about that. I think he has he is not a GOAT. He might be able to pull a vote or two, but I don't think at this point his game is strong enough that he can beat the majority of the people that are left.
So he's
there.
A ram. He's not a GOAT, but he's a ram.
I think if it was Ken, Hannah, and Brett, I think Ken might win. Maybe.
I think he would.
I think he'd have a chance because he'd probably run the final immunity challenges. He'd probably run the last 2 or 3. I mean, it depends on what they would be.
You think they would care about that though?
Do you think they would what?
Do you think they would count that?
Like,
I should win because I didn't play the game.
Yeah, that's always
He's
my
gonna.
thing.
Yeah, he played it with honor.
I
He played
was
it with
honorable.
respect.
I told you when I was going to
Hey.
run a draw. I told you when I was going to
Hey,
pass.
Fireman Tom played that way, and he won, didn't he? He played an honest game. He played an honorable game, at least as far as we saw, and he won. And he won the game. So it all depends on who you're matched up with. You could play yeah, there you go. You could play I'm trying to keep my language clean. You could play a dishonorable game. You could play an honorable game. You could play a Captain Coattails. You can be the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It just depends on the people you're matched up with.
Right.
You know, Tony's game, the way that he played it the first time around, might fall completely flat. You know, in another season with a bunch of different people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about the back at camp before the travel. You got Will basically going to everybody and asserting his newfound power and his new manliness. I am now a man. We are voting for David. I am now a man.
Ken and Will.
We are voting
Ken
for
and
David.
Yeah, Ken and Will. There you go. The power couple.
And Adam says, no, that ain't happening. No. Now,
Adam's
why
my
do you
favorite.
think Adam decided to take out Will versus David when David is more of a threat? So why does Adam choose Will over David?
Will's just that awful to be around.
Wow,
that's the short answer.
Swinging hard, aren't you, buddy?
That's the short, honest answer. I think it comes down to numbers. If he lose David and keep Will, the numbers switch to the other side, and now he's got Hannah and Ken mad at him, but he's got these other 4 people that can actually control the vote going forward.
Right.
You know, you're giving Will, Jay, Sunday, and Brett numbers if they use that. So that's why Adam flat out said, if Will stays, he takes a little more control of the game. If David stays, you know, I've just got another strong person I got to get out.
Well,
But
yeah, if they all would fold and vote for David, I mean, Sunday, Brett, Jay, and Will take over the game again. So, I mean, Adam couldn't vote out David because that's what he would end up with.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. Well, good. So we get to tribal council then. Oh, well, we do get the quote from Adam. This is the moment I make moves I need to make to win this game.
Lots of winner quotes in this episode.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
by the way,
Adam is still my favorite. Adam is still my favorite to win right now.
yeah,
I think there's,
he certainly could. So
I think there's too much heat on David. I think too much attention has been brought to him, and I'm going to be shocked if David makes it to the final. And Jay has been under the gun for how many episodes now?
And that's funny. That's like the running themes each week. David is a target. Jay is under the gun. He keeps fighting back. And Adam, to his face, tells Jay, I got to get rid of you. You have to go. And they respect each other for it. And I think when Adam finally pulls it off, if he does, Jay's going to say, dude, you are a warrior. You're getting my vote. And I'm going to see who else's vote you can get. Because I think Jay's going to walk out respecting Adam, especially after this week, especially after the hammock talk they had. You know, and his change. So I think David's game is getting better because Zeke and Hannah talked about David annoying people, but I think it's changed a little in the fact that they respect now that Adam's playing hard and he's working, and we're seeing it a lot too, which should lead towards the fact that we're seeing somebody like we saw a lot of Adam and we saw a lot of Hannah this week. As far as playing the game hard.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Adam,
But
if Adam makes it to the end, I think he wins against anybody but Jay. And I'd actually like this. I really wish that Adam and David would be at the end because I think that'd be kind of an even match. But I think anything else really kind of almost ends in a blowout.
right.
Yeah.
I think David's underdog story will carry an enormous amount of weight, but I think if Adam pulls the mom card at the final tribal, kind of like Jeremy did with his pregnant wife.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden that's a huge battle between the two.
Right.
But I mean, maybe I'm way off base, and if you think I am, please tell me that you think I am. But I got to tell you, I see Adam, and I'm actually getting wafts of Chris from Vanuatu, where it was him and 6 or 7 women, and he just kept plotting them against each other, and he worked his way right to the end, and they all just kept saying, oh, we'll get rid of him next week, we'll get rid of him next week. And that's kind of what David's doing, or Jay is doing, but nobody's really thinking about Adam. And I think he could actually go to the end, and I think he could win this.
Yeah, well, you don't want to sit at the end with Adam at all. No way.
No.
And that's without even knowing his mama's story. He pulls out his mama's story at the end. He absolutely wins it, and rightfully so, because then he's able to say, y'all, I never used this in the game, but I'm going to tell you now. So, yeah, David, you got to get rid of Adam.
Hey, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And David's not a devil, but that's kind of what David's doing right now. He's keeping the focus. It's a constant ritual. David, got to get rid of those players. And Will, got to get rid of those players. I agree, Miriam. Adam would be a good winner. But that's what's good about this season is that we got so many people that I think would have good winner stories from David, Jay, and Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them takes it. There's no way the final 3 ends in Brett, Hannah, Ken. So I think one of those guys will win it.
Yeah. Can you hear me yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I got to tell you, I can see that possibly happening.
What, the Hannah, Brett, and Ken?
Yes, I absolutely could see that happening. Because Ken just continues to win challenges. Ken's kind of been, he hasn't really flipped, but he's circumnavigated waters kind of like Adam has. And I could absolutely see getting rid of Jay, his biggest challenge competitor, and then all of a sudden, Ken just running the gamut for the last few challenges and then teaming up with Hannah and Brett and thinking, I can beat these 2. Yeah, I could see that as a final 3.
But that wouldn't be honorable.
I just don't think he would ever betray David. And that's why I don't.
Oh, no, he won't do that.
No. If everybody else gets rid of David first, now all of a sudden Ken's got to scramble and he comes up with a new strategy.
No, I think Ken would volunteer to go out for David.
No way. Not a chance.
All right, let's talk about Tribal Council. I just want to say this right off the top. Zeke looking sharp at Tribal Council. And he, again, is the master poker player, shows nothing on his face, never gives you any idea what he's thinking. Zeke, incredible.
There was one scene where they cut to him.
It was kind of an eye roll.
Yeah, he rolled his eyes and he kind of tossed his head like he was like going to vomit at someone's comment. Oh. I don't remember what the comment was, but yeah.
Oh. All right. So
I like Adam playing up to the jury. You notice that, you, who do you want to sit with and how do you get there? But if you make big moves, a lot of the jury members made big moves and that's why they're sitting over there.
Yeah.
And exactly right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I like about this season. You make a big move, you're next on the block. That's what you got to be.
And that's what I like about Adam and David is they both say very survivor intelligent things often.
Yes.
And I really enjoy that about them.
One of the things that Adam isn't saying, and he's brilliant to keep this quiet, and he's been like that all season. Just because you make a big move doesn't mean you have to be ostentatious about it. It doesn't mean you have to be over the top. And Will, last week, was very over the top. He put the target on himself. Yeah. Adam has been very quietly moving and manipulating chess pieces in the game to get him, and his name doesn't come up.
Right.
His name is not on the lips of people.
And Will does it even at last night's Tribal. Yeah, I'm awesome, and David wasted his idol, so now I'm more awesomer.
Yeah.
Now I'm even more awesome. Yeah.
And I think it actually undermined his flipping and just put a bigger target on his back because the flip was irrelevant.
Yeah, because after Will made that comment, Jeff said, all right, we're going to go to everybody out of high school and find out what they think. And then we'll go to the vote.
Yeah. And I like what Hannah had to say. Everybody, and I know this has already been said, but everybody on this everybody here has worked with and worked against everybody here.
Right.
I like that. Yeah. All right, time to vote. Will goes home, and if David wins, he owes Adam a little bit of cash. Okay. Anything else before we go back to camp for part two?
Probst had another good line. At this level of play, you want to hide because you don't want to be seen as the biggest threat, but at the same time, you have to be seen to win.
Right.
So there was a lot of good lines. I mean, this was a very rushed episode, but it was a lot of good lines in this episode.
Right. All right, back at camp. Jay, anytime anyone tries to make a plan with me, they end up going home. I'm like the Black Plague. Hey, Dan, is there any way you can mute while you're walking?
Is Dan leaving us?
No, he's just walking to his car, but now we can't
his
hear
signal
him.
just muted him. That was a great line because as he was walking back, I said, "Man, Jay is at the bottom and Jay is all alone." And then he calls himself the Black Plague. That was great.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan, I'm having to mute you until you get to a quieter spot because yours is so loud that Google Hangouts is going to you instead of the person who's talking. So when you're sitting in your car again, I will unmute you, or you can unmute yourself.
Call us back.
Okay, call us back.
Okay,
there we go.
All right, so
Jay.
I was kind of lost.
Jay says that he's the plague.
Yeah,
and then we get Jay and Adam talking. Y'all want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I love that. I love that he said we love each other, but we hate each other, and that to me, we go back because Ryan's played it and won it. But that's the great thing about playing in Durham is that you only play for 4 days. You don't have enough time to really build up enemies or somebody you really hate. When the game's over, you just want to talk to them and ask them what they were thinking. And I love that Jay and Adam actually have this open, somewhat honest, not completely honest, but open relationship that they can laugh and talk about these things. And that's why I think so many casual fans love this season because of that. There's no hatred. There's no fighting. There's no major arguments and stuff.
Did you not?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Jessica was like, her and Sunday, like oil and water there for a little while.
Well, that's mostly a Ponderosa, but anyway.
Okay. All right. So Ken's I love that Jay is playing and not giving up. Jay is like, okay, so this is a setback. Let me recoup and go forward.
Absolutely.
All right, Plunko challenge.
Okay. This is going to be up near the top of my favorite challenges of all time.
Well, it's about time.
I like puzzles, but I love it when there's two things going on at once that can make you
it reminded me like something you would see on Big Brother. It was like a very much like I think they've done it before on theirs where they'd have like a puzzle here and like a timer there. They're running back and forth. But yeah, it was definitely nice to see something new after kind of seeing just a kind of stale.
Okay, thanks for ruining that for me by telling me it was on Big Brother. That just I'm not a Big Brother watcher, so I did try one season. It was probably the worst season.
It was the worst season ever.
I kind of fell out of it,
but I love that challenge. I thought it was a great challenge.
Well, yeah, and usually Probst is just hyping things up, but really splitting the focus does affect the game, and some people can handle that better than others. And especially when you have somebody helping you.
So what'd you think of Adam? Yeah.
Yeah.
Me. Yeah. Well, it was weird because I thought I think he meant for it to make Jay lose. And I think back at camp, he kind of explained to Jay that it was Jay to lose, but that was kind of just a bunch of crap. But it was
he pulled it off though. He pulled it off.
Yeah. It was pretty bold to do that. I mean, it's, at that point, I would do the same thing. I've done the same thing. If someone really don't want to win is going to win, I make sure someone else wins.
Yeah. So, all right. So Adam helps Ken. Ken ends up winning because of it. And we go back to camp.
Hold on. We get a great confessional, the exit challenge confessional from Ken, where he says Jay is the strongest player in the game. He's the younger version of himself. Ken,
great. Yeah.
You want to say anything about what your voting plans are? Do you want to talk? No, that's all I got. He's just a younger version of me.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We'll see you back at camp.
Go back to camp and test Jay to see how much like him he really is.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. I'm going to see if he stands up to my honor test.
Honor and integrity.
The cameraman says, let's just go talk to Dave. Dave's got plenty to say. We'll talk to Adam and Dave.
So so Ken and David go off to get firewood, and Adam just pulls this off amazingly. Look, guys, because Jay was ticked. Because look, guys, I didn't want David to win, and so that's why I did that, and it worked. And they all took it. They were fine with it.
I was a little surprised by Jay's reaction because he and Ken are like surfer dude bros, right? They're like buds. They're knuckle to knuckle after some wins. No, in the past. But suddenly Jay sits down like he's so full of himself. What is he? He didn't win that. Adam won that for him.
Well, you told me last week that Jay said in a confessional he can't stand Ken. You told me that last week.
No, that was Will that said he couldn't stand Ken after Ken blew him.
Okay, I thought it was Jay.
No, because Ken went to Jay to bust Will. That's how close I thought these guys were. And suddenly Jay's like, look at Ken. He didn't win that. He was trying to take credit for it, but he didn't win it. Adam helped it. And you're right. Adam played it off very well. Dude, I just want to make sure David didn't win.
Right.
When he should have said, I want to make sure one of you two didn't win. But yeah, I want to make sure David didn't win.
Right. And then we get Jay. And then we get Jay doing, again, a very socially smart thing. And that is pleading with him. Let me stay longer than him. At least you're planning it in their mind. And it's like, look, I'm not the big threat, and I don't think it's going to work, but that's what you want to try. So
I might have to mute him again until he's ready.
All right. I'll mute him again.
He knows everyone in the parking lot, so he's got to invite everybody.
No, it's not true.
Oh, I muted him as he was talking. Sorry. David told me to do it, so remember, I didn't want to. David wanted you to be muted.
I didn't want anything recorded that he didn't want recorded.
Well, that is true. So David tells Hannah their plan, and Brett is. Why do I have Brett as backup? Why do I have that on there? Oh, Brett's the backup. Okay.
Well, at first he was.
But Hannah wants Sunday gone.
I like what Hannah did. She wrote it in the sand. She did a Michaela. She put it in the sand and said, okay, this is what you're looking at. All right, let me tell you why I think that's bad. Let me tell you another idea. And this is what I like about it. And this was said, I think, 2 tribals ago. This group comes together and votes together.
Well, that was the fastest conversation ever too. She's like, I think we should do it Sunday. And Ken's like, okay. And David's like, okay, fine. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Again, Ken's like, yeah, I don't care. Y'all just tell me as long as it's not David.
That's right. Because I'll never vote for David.
Yeah.
Even when he gets on the jury. Sorry, David. I swore I'd never vote for you. So I just can't vote for you.
No, my word.
Well, okay. The only thing we haven't talked about, because we've already talked about this to death, is Jay and Adam in the hammock. That's really the only thing we haven't really addressed in this setting. So y'all have any comments about?
I'm surprised it took Adam that long to open up about that to anybody. Because to go over a month with just that bottled up is pretty, I would imagine, extremely difficult.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to unmute Dan because it looks like he's trying to talk to us.
I wonder if that's a tell sign coming forward that Adam did finally open up, and he opened up to Jay, the guy he's been battling back and forth with. I just found that really interesting and really kind of neat that you meet somebody that you suddenly feel that close to, even though you're fighting. You feel that close to that you can reveal that to him and talk about that. And then come to find out Jay's been dealing with the same issues about his mom, and it's just, it was a great scene. And that to me is what kind of exemplifies this season. These are good people just playing a game. When it's over, they're going to go to each other's house and visit each other's moms if they can. Unfortunately, Adams passed away shortly after he got back, but still they care. And after the game, they're going to care about each other. They're going to wring each other's neck in the game, but afterwards they're going to care. And that's one thing I think that's so attractive about this season.
Okay, Dan, I'm not able to unmute you, so you're going to have to call back in. Sorry, buddy. I've been trying and I can't unmute you. So,
Poor Dan.
All right, Tribal Council. David, you're a threat, and yet you're still here. And David's going, thanks a lot, Probes. Why don't you shut up? And then Adam's like, yep, David is in majority every vote. He's great at camp. He's got this great transformation story. And David's going, yeah, Adam, why don't you shut up?
Yeah, he just wants to tell everybody to shut up.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, sorry about that.
That's it. How about
So,
now?
and then we got Sunday. I'm not
You're
a
good,
physical.
Dan. We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You know,
Oh, now he muted himself.
I was surprised that Sunday actually did give it out because they really gave her nothing as far as last night's episode go. I mean, usually when there's someone's getting like nothing, it's like they're probably okay because they haven't. It's not like her swan song, but like she just kind of like went out with a whimper.
Well,
Yeah, I
I
was
think
surprised at
that's
that too. Go ahead,
that's
Dwayne.
that's kind of a testament to the fact that, and again, I'm not. It's kind of the testament to what the GOAT she is. You're going out of the game. There's almost always some stupid comment that you make that they play right before you get voted out, and she had nothing. I don't know. She was the perfect person to bring to the end of the game. Perfect person, I thought.
Well, I did too. I thought her and Hannah would be at the end with either one of the three, Jay, Adam, or David. So I was a little surprised she went home.
Yeah.
Did we all pick her to be in the final three?
No, I had her going sixth place. Basically, I just basically swapping her and Brett with what.
Yeah.
But I think Brett will go sixth place still. But otherwise, that's how I've had it.
I don't think
Yeah, I do
so.
too.
I don't. I think Brett will go deeper. I don't think Brett is seen as a threat. And one of the scenes that got cut from my season was the night that we were voting Joe out of the game. And Probst asked the seven of us, the Alliance of Seven, before Mike had fallen off the wagon, and he asked us, and he kept trying to look for breaks. Who do you think is at the bottom of the Alliance of Seven? And then we'd give an answer. He didn't like it. He would just walk on you and then go to somebody else. And he went to all seven of us, and when we all gave the same answer, we don't care. The seven of us are staying strong. Joe was going home. He got pissed and started yelling at us. And I mean yelling. He started dropping F-bombs on us like it was Iwo Jima. And I finally, because I'm the loudest, I basically said, listen. Yeah, I know, hard to believe, right? And I basically said, Jeff, to beat you, I put you on the jury. I don't need to sit next to you at the final tribal. I want to sit next to the two biggest GOATs in this game. And if you think I'm the GOAT, then bring me. You along, then chances are I think you're a GOAT. And the fact that they got rid of Sunday really surprised me a lot. I think that Brett, Hannah, and Sunday were the biggest GOATs in the game. And to me, it just shows the inexperience of some of these people that they want to bring the stronger players because they let David and they let Jay squeak by last night. I mean, they flushed his idol, but I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we get to the feedback part of the episode?
So the question is, do you, as a jury member, Dan, do you give more credence to someone that votes correctly the majority of the time, or someone that never votes anyone onto the jury like Jay? Because I think he's about 0 for the last 6.
Well, basically, I mean, Jay's
right
almost like a younger Mike. I mean, that's what Mike did. He kind of just won his way at the end and still won. So I would be interested to see how Dan thinks about Jay.
I think if Jay gets to the end, I think he can beat almost everybody. I don't think he can beat Adam. I really don't. I don't know if he can beat David. I think there will be a lot of respect for Jay if he makes it to the end, just like Mike from my season. I think there's been enough people that were like, well, I got voted out. You screwed me. Good luck, everybody. And which again boggles my mind, but I think there's still enough respect amongst these people for solid gameplay. And I think Jay would carry a lot of weight if he makes it to the end. I think that would be just a monstrously bad maneuver on the part of everybody left in the game if Jay is somehow able to make it there.
Well, if he makes it there only by winning immunity, do you still vote for him?
Depends on who he's sitting against.
True.
It depends on his, what he says. It's tough to say. Again, we're sitting at home. There's so much more that you don't see. Everybody expected Aubrey to win last season, and Michelle walked away with it.
See, it's interesting because it's the way Adam admits that Jay's got to go for him to win. but Jay keeps talking about taking Adam, and
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if that's what we're going to see, like a Jay, Adam, and Hannah final, or Brett final.
I think Jay is actually being very smart about that because he is talking from a position of power, and I think he's trying to supplant that concept into Adam's mind. I don't think it's working, but I think it's, I think it's a psychological maneuver that's actually pretty intelligent. It's actually a very, very sneaky move.
Well, Jay has to know that he's got a lot of support in the jury. I mean, I don't think he's like, just kind of winging it. I think he's got to know he's got the votes.
Oh, Jay is way too smart not to realize how much of the jury actually is in his corner. And I mean, even people that weren't part of his alliance, I think would respect the fact that he was so far down the totem pole and made it there. That all by itself will get him some. If he plays the mom card, that could get him a lot of sympathy as well.
Yeah, so his Black Plague story could get him the sympathy too.
No, he said that his mom's been having aneurysms for years.
Oh, I know that, but the fact that everybody that tries to work with him gets voted out, so it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But he's still in the game, like you said. He's been at the bottom for a while now, and he's still in the game.
Yes.
No, I agree about the mother story. Yeah.
I think that between the mother story, I think the fact that this does not appear to be a very bitter jury like last season was, I think, and the fact that he was such, he should have been voted out weeks ago, and they haven't been able to get rid of him, or they've chosen not to get rid of him.
We heard early on from Zeke that Jay is extremely charming and very likable, and everybody likes him. Yeah, so we've been hearing that. And on the flip side, we've heard that Adam wasn't. Zeke and Hannah, neither one of them trusted him, and were ready to vote him off after the merge, or so they said.
Yep.
Okay.
But then again, nobody liked David in the beginning either. And he is, he has grown immensely. I mean, not just as a player, but it appears as a person. This seems like this, they talk about Survivor being life-changing for some people. And I think it's cliche for a lot of people, but I think it's literal for David. I really do.
I agree.
All right, so we all agree we enjoyed the episode, and we're going to move on to feedback right after this.
Have you finished your Christmas shopping? Well, don't be like David and Dwaine and wait till the last minute to get it done. Do it now and use their Amazon link when you do. Not only will you get all your Christmas shopping done, but you'll also be helping support these guys and their great podcasts. So always use stwdd.com/Amazon when you start your shopping. Or make it even easier and just use the link on their website. Now, back to D&D.
Which former player was that?
That was not.
Who is
That was a professional voice friend of Dwayne's, because he does voiceover work, so he got one of his friends as a voiceover for us. I think at a reduced rate.
Pause for a commercial break.
Well,
That's awesome.
David,
You guys are officially big time.
if I'm buzzing, then you've got to take over the show and do stuff.
No, because you still don't treat me like an equal podcast partner. I'm not
whatever.
some high school kid doing a podcast.
Again.
All right,
David,
feedback.
I still love you, pal. I don't
Thank you,
understand
Dan.
why he treats you like a second-class citizen. I'll never understand it.
I don't either. Stop.
All right, it's assuming I'm not buzzing. One of our feedback people tonight is going to get a Survivor buff from buffusa.com/Survivor Talk 33. First, we have Will Dennison. If I start buzzing, David, just take over.
Okay.
What's up, guys? It's Will from Wonder Lake again, a.k.a. the Giant Ninja. So tonight was a bit of a new experience. I got to watch the show almost live. I mean, it had ended before I even started it, but at least I'm done watching before bedtime, which is nice. Early feedback. We're down to 6, which is a lot for the finale. but it is what it is. No medevacs this year, and we started with 20, so day 36 will have 6 competitors. No hidden immunity idols, and 1 legacy advantage. Who will the final 3 be? And how can everyone get there? That's the topic of this week's feedback. So here goes in new power rankings order. Number 6, Hannah. Hannah needs to stay with David and Ken. Between the 3 of them, they can force the other 3 to go to rocks to break them up. And Adam won't do that. Neither will Brett. Frankly, Jay probably would. If Hannah wants to get 3rd place, it's there for the taking, but she won't get any votes against David and Ken, so she's in a tough spot. She could flip her game. Adam would love to work with her, but why would she? She can't beat Adam. She can't beat Jay. She probably can't even beat Brett. Hannah's better off staying with David and Ken and hoping that folks don't respect David. They do, but she can hope they don't. Y'all want to say anything?
No, that's what I think she's doing. I think she's just going to the end with them and maybe crossing her fingers that something happens, but it won't.
Right. All right. Moving on.
Spot on, Will.
Here you go. Number 5, Brett. Brett needs to make sure that everyone knows that he's a free agent. He has no loyalties left in the game and no friends on the jury. His best bet is to pair up with Jay and try to split Adam and Hannah off from Ken and David. If he can do that, he's got a 4-2 advantage. And then he needs to figure out a way to split Adam and Hannah up. The problem with that scenario is that he's going to the final 3 with Jay, who he can't beat. His other option is to craft the same final 4, but for him to then turn on Jay if Jay doesn't win immunity. He probably loses Adam in that scenario, but he's got a fighting chance. Any thoughts on Brett?
Yeah, that actually brings up a decent point in that, for as much crap as Hannah gets for making the dumb move and going out Sunday, like what's Brett's plan? I don't think if his plan's to go to the end with Jay, it's just as bad as Hannah just writing it with Ken and David, I think.
Yeah, Brett, I wrote in my show notes that, in the episode notes, that Brett, is the only person left that, hasn't played the game at all. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's fair to say even a little bit. I don't think he's played the strongest game, but to say he hasn't played the game at all.
Okay, because everybody has a game that they play. Fair enough.
No, not even that. I think he has played the game. I just think he's made some poor choices with some of the people that he's teamed up with. It's like you try to align with somebody and all of a sudden it turns out they're an idiot. They get targeted quick. And all of a sudden you're left scrambling for new people. And that's kind of what Brett ended up doing.
Okay.
So he associated quickly with Chris and, they just found themselves oblivious to what was going on around him quite often. So I don't think it's fair to say that he hasn't played the game at all. I just don't think he's played it well.
I think he's played the game. He's played the game to last, but not to win.
Yes.
Fair enough.
That I would absolutely agree with.
Fair enough. All right, number 4, Adam. Adam is also in a tough spot right now. He needs to figure out a way to get to the end with Brett and Hannah if he wants to win. He can also beat Ken, I think, but it's tough for Adam to vote David out without crossing Ken in the process. If I'm Adam, I'm trying to convince Hannah that it's time to flip to work with Brett and Jay. But again, nobody wants to go to the end with Jay, who added at least 1 more jury vote tonight. If Adam can convince Hannah to flip on David and work with Brett and Jay, they make final 4. And if Jay doesn't win immunity at final 4, they're the final 3. Adam wins, but that still doesn't help Hannah do any better than 3rd.
Okay, that's all good stuff. And I agree that Ken probably won't flip on David, but I think Hannah will. I think she knows enough that she can recognize. She saw Sunday as a threat, but she even said, David saved me. How do I not? Oh, am I boring you, Dwaine? Is that what that is? Or
no?
Okay, never mind. You yawned.
No one else saw that but you.
I think it's unfortunate that I think it's unfortunate almost that Hannah wanted to get rid of Sunday even because she called her an enticing goat, but at the same time, she says she doesn't want somebody sitting in her spot. If Hannah goes to the end with loyalty and Ken and David, she's sitting in Sunday's chair.
Well, that's what she means. She wants to be the goat, not
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think putting Adam at 4 is, I don't agree with that. I think he is a much stronger player. I think he's in a much better position. I think he's a much stronger player than Ken, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think he's in a better position than Ken. He's in a better position than Brett, Hannah. I mean, I put him at the minimum at 3. And I don't think there's as big of a target on him as there is David.
Yeah, I think it's going to – the more watching last night, it's almost like the one thing Adam couldn't do was get rid of Jay, and that's why he's going to lose to him. I could see Adam and Jay going to the final and it coming down to Jay winning by the few people that are on the jury that are his friends. I could see that being a storyline that gets to the end.
All right, let's move on.
Let me pick up for you here since you're starting to buzz again.
Okay.
Number 3, Ken. Ken was my winner pick for something like 8 weeks straight, but he's gone invisible lately, and he's not going to get to the end through strategy. Not his strategy, right?
No.
Moreover, he seems to be less liked by the cast, especially by the jury, than I would have guessed. Most importantly, I don't think he'll be willing to turn on David, and I don't think he can beat David. The best chance Ken has to win is to go to the end with Hannah and Brett, or possibly Hannah and Adam, and hope that he can convince folks that he deserves their votes. But he won't do that. If Ken makes it to the end, it will be with David and Hannah, probably, or Adam, possibly, and Ken won't win.
I agree with that, except that I don't think he's a stronger player than Adam. I think if he goes to the end with Adam, Adam wins, period. Yeah. Adam's done way more than Ken has, and I don't think he's got enough I don't think he has enough presentation, not just gameplay, but from himself. And like you said, I don't think there's enough positivity from the jury towards him right now.
Yeah.
Right.
He won't pull off on Michelle because probably for that reason.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Am I buzzing anymore?
You're good. It's all you.
All right. Jay, number 2. Yes, Jay. He's worked his way all the way up to 2nd in my power rankings, and he might even be 1st if he hadn't burned his idol tonight. Kudos, Adam. You convinced Jay that enough votes were coming his way that he had to spend it. Jay has a number of ways to go to the end, and they all rely on, 1, the so-called Team David turning on each other.
Hold on 1 second. Let's get Dan's mic out of his beard because that's what's giving us all this static. Oh, my goodness. Trim the beard. You're not on the island anymore.
I'm not on the island.
All right. They all rely on, 1, the so-called Team David turning on each other, or 2, winning immunities. He's on the outside looking in if Hannah and Adam stay loyal to David, or more accurately, if Hannah stays loyal to David, because if Hannah stays loyal to David, then Adam will as well, even if reluctantly. Jay has to convince Adam to work with him. He has Brett's vote. If Adam and Brett would force another rock draw at final 6, then they could be the final 3 if it goes the right way. But the easier thing to do would be also to convince Hannah to flip. I just don't see it happening, especially not to work with Jay, who has Michelle, Taylor, and other will as jury votes already, and possibly has Sunday as well. He's number 2 because he's got a chance of winning if he's sitting there at the end. But the fact that he's got a chance of winning if he's sitting there at the end is why nobody wants to go to the end with him. Tough game, huh? All right. Number 1, David. I've been hashtag Team David all year. I know Dwaine doesn't like watching him, but I think David plays this game the right way. And he spelled it, David's last name. And that has changed, Will the Giant Ninja. I am enjoying it. He's been getting a hero edit of late, and even the other players are starting to acknowledge his growth narrative. Most importantly, though, David has seemingly loyal allies who either don't know or don't care that they won't beat him in the end. He's got Ken, and I think he's got Hannah as well. And frankly, that should be enough for him to walk through the final 3 at this point. I say David wins this season. How about you guys? Do you agree? Am I reading the tea leaves right? Hit me up on Twitter or in the D&D Facebook group to let me know. Later, peeps. Will at the Giant Ninja. I agree. I think David's going to win this season.
I missed all that. Could you repeat the whole thing, please?
Oh, my God.
No.
What was number 6 again? No.
I lost you at I'm the giant ninja. Can you just
That-
start from there?
That's kind of like an oxymoron, isn't it? Giant ninja.
No, he's a giant. He's big and he's a ninja.
I love Will. I do.
Yeah.
I love talking to him online. I like going back and forth with him. I like his concepts. I like the way he thinks. Even when I don't agree with him or he doesn't agree with me, I still love the banter back and forth that we have on your page.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think David is getting a Cochran underdog story. And Probst and Survivor love that. They love the underdog story. But I still don't put him above Adam at this point. I think too much heat has been directed at David. I will be shocked if he makes it to the final.
Now, when you say heat, are you talking about him being the target? Because I don't see that as heat. I see that as respect in this season. Whereas Adam, I think, has a bit of a lack of a social game.
Yeah, I don't
Really?
really
Why don't
see
you ask
David.
Will?
I don't see.
Why don't you
David
ask
really
Will
having
how that
any-
is? I don't.
What, Ryan?
I said I don't really see David having as many enemies as Adam does on the jury. I mean, I don't think Michelle, and not that I like Adam's a ton, but I mean, I don't think there's really any hugely negative opinions about David, as there are a couple about Adam. I think Adam would probably still beat David with the rest of the jury, but I don't think that David doesn't have the heat, as in like people taking shots at him. I would just call him most likely to win, which really isn't like a bad thing to say.
Well, that's what I mean. I just mean they're just continually pointing out that it's David versus Zeke. They're the two strongest players in the game. Yes, it's absolutely a respect thing, but simultaneously, if you become a strong player, you make a big move. Now all of a sudden you're a threat, and they keep bringing up David's name again and again to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. So I think there's still too much. There's too much focus on David, just as much as there is on Jay. So I'm, again, I'll say it and I'll eat crow if I'm wrong, and you guys will bow at my feet if I'm right. But I'll be shocked if David makes it to the final. Absolutely shocked. I think there's still too much attention on him.
Yeah, I think if he goes with Ken and Hannah, he wins easily. If he goes with Adam and Jay, it's much tougher, especially against Jay.
Yes. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
All right, David, go to the next feedback.
Dave Holdsworth, happy Thursday from the frozen tundra of New Jersey.
New Jersey.
First
East
off,
Coast boy, baby. Love it.
Any Survivor episode is better than almost anything else on TV, but this one fell a little flat.
What?
Cramming two tribals into... Let me finish the paragraph. Cramming two tribals into a 1 hour episode almost altered the flow of the show and came at the expense of camp time. And seeing the players' social interaction and strategizing, a poor trade-off, in my opinion. Oh, I agree. I'd much rather watch social camp life than a reward challenge. I'd much rather watch that. So it seemed like what Ryan said earlier, that was the quickest decision anybody's ever come to voting somebody out. Yeah. Because you guys got 33 seconds to pick who you're going to vote out, and then we're going to travel.
That's right.
Yeah, I got to tell you, David, I don't know if I always agree with that about I'd take camp life over reward challenge, because I think a lot of times in a reward challenge or in a reward, you see people let their guard down. I think you see people, like Brett, maybe drink a little too much, tongues start to get loose. And I think a lot of times very interesting things happen at the rewards. I think the last two episodes have almost completely saved the season. This week's episode, not so much. It was too much, too fast, too jam-packed, too compacted. It was too much.
Hey, I appreciate Brett and Zeke. I love the bonding that they did. That was a great, I thought, TV moment, great reality moment. But I would take Ken testing Will any day. Watching
that was an unusual set of circumstances. That was a pretty large, dramatic, what were you thinking, head-slapping set of circumstances that doesn't usually happen in camp.
True.
By the
for
way,
a season, go ahead.
When I stand like this, I look thinner.
Actually, those glasses are very slimming.
I almost look as thin as Ryan.
Dude, you look like twins. That's what I was thinking.
I just need the glasses.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Dave's feedback. Will's consistently arrogant rant in the first half hour about his big move and how everyone now wanted his vote and input was a massive preview of his elimination. It was just too obvious that he was leaving. And starstruck fan that he is, Will left with a goofy big grin on his face like he was happy to be experiencing that aspect of the game.
Well, that's the thing. Will, no one cares that Will left, and really no one cares that Sunday left. So as far as the episode goes, it really wasn't that exciting because it wasn't like a huge shock that it was surprising that Sunday left, but like Sunday's not a really star of the show, so it's not like we're really going to miss her that much, unfortunately.
The second immunity challenge was excellent. Forcing the players to maintain dual focus was a very interesting twist.
Yeah. Absolutely agreed. That was a very, very cool thing. And when Adam started helping Ken,
it
was brilliant.
That was good.
And it was wasted. Again, another something that was really smart and wasted because you could see Jay's frustration that he's helping Ken to win, and then they still don't vote out Jay. Like, what are you people thinking?
All right, he continues. Hannah, wanting to target Sunday because people might see Sunday as a goat or take her to the end, thereby taking up one of the final tribal spots. At this point in the game, players should be looking to the end with an eye to who they can take and beat at the final tribal. And considering the field of remaining players, Sunday was likely the only player Hannah potentially could beat. And that is not even a given. Hannah should be working to keep Sunday around at all costs, so hopefully sit next to her, not looking to eliminate her.
Absolutely.
All right. Going into this week's episode, we had 8 players left. We are left with 6. The 2 that departed, Sunday and Will, were not threats to win the game. It's surprising the players didn't try to take out the real threats to win, Adam, David, and Jay. I think that will come back to bite them when one of these 3 takes home the crown. It reminds me of this past summer's Durham Warrior Survivor Challenge when the player who was clearly the biggest threat to win, Ryan, who I believe is a guest tonight, episode and whom I hope to meet this coming summer in Maine, was not taken out by the other players when they had the opportunity, and he cruised to the win. Thanks, David and Dwaine. Dave Holforth.
Wow, who's that Ryan guy?
Sounds pretty cool.
He's the guy that looks exactly like Dwaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the other way.
Dude, you've got like that vanilla ice hair going on. It's really kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Someday I will look as thin as I did when we made the overlay graphic. I was at the Apple Store, I guess last year, and I was showing somebody at the Apple Store our website, and they go, "That's not you." I said, "Yeah, shut up, you twerp."
You should have said, "Don't worry, that's not the guy I podcast with either."
Yeah.
I actually had a little girl, like 3 years old. I went to the park. I had one of my tenants. I had their children. And Erin, myself, and these 2 little boys, ages 7 and 4.
They tell you what they want for Christmas.
We went to the park together, and this little girl comes up to me, and she looks at the 2 boys, and she goes, "You're my friends." And she looked up at me, and she said, "Oh, and you brought Santa."
Yep.
Here I am is saying in the chat room that Ryan has amazing hair. Love it.
Yeah.
Watch
Thank
out,
you.
Ryan. You don't want Mir I am after you. Ken's
I
got a
mean,
restraining order on her already.
Dan, you have pretty cool hair too. Yeah. I like what you got going on up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant this. Sorry. Yeah. See, eventually these are going to grow long enough, and I'm going to do the comb up and a pebbles.
Perfect.
I'm going to do a pebbles because chicks dig that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ryan, it was even without listening to confessionals last summer, it was obvious to many of the production staff who was the odds-on favorite to make it to the end and win. How is it those people didn't see that were with you 24/7 for the whole weekend?
Ooh.
Well, Durham Warriors moves a lot faster than Survivor does. I think there wasn't a lot of time for them to be making other moves. It's kind of just like just stick with the person you're with and kind of roll with that. I think had people had like 2 weeks to realize that Ryan's going to win this game, I think they would have made a move. They only had a couple hours, so it's kind of it was easier to stick with me than try to do something against me.
Very
Let's
true.
admit it, Ryan. You used the flirt card.
Yep, I was a schmoozer.
On all those married women, that's right.
All right, David Holdsworth. We got to give him applause. Is my microphone sounding okay?
Yes.
Sylvia, hi D&D. Who do you think would win more jury votes? This is what I would think. Number 1, David and Jay. Number 2, Adam. Number 3, Hannah, Brett, and Ken. Among them, does Hannah or Brett win? She doesn't even give Ken an option.
Ken is not even an option.
Yeah.
Wait, say those groups again.
David and Jay get the most,
Yeah.
which I agree. Adam gets the second most, which I agree. Hannah, Brett, and Ken are tied for the third most, and she thinks Hannah or Brett would win, and I would say Hannah. I don't think Ken can win.
I think Ken might win that.
No, I think Ken would win in a Hannah, Brett, Ken final 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do too. I agree with you, Ryan. I think he could. And I still think you guys are selling, everybody's selling Adam short. I think if Adam and David went to the end against each other, I think that would be very difficult to call.
No, I haven't. No, I've said if Adam and David go to the end together, that Adam will probably win.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I think it would be close. I wouldn't count out David in that.
No.
I'm not counting them out, but I think it'd be close.
Even a little bit. I
think David's story at the end would beat out Adam's story by a vote. I think it would be close, but I just think David would get more votes partly because of his story, because of his arc.
Maybe that. I mean, I'm not taking that away from David by any means. I'm absolutely counting that, but I think Adam making his case of being the silent chess master behind the scenes, making all those moves, and then he pulls out the mom's got stage 4 lung cancer. I think that would be enough to put him over the top. I don't know. I think it would be really, really tough to call if that was the final 2. Do you think there's any chance they're going to do a final 4?
No.
Because this Wednesday's the final episode, which means they have to get rid of 3 people in 2 hours?
I mean, they did it last year. I mean, so in Cambodia, they started with 6 there. It'll be just a really quick-paced episode.
No, because Will called himself the 6th juror. So Sunday would be the 5th, so 4 more jurors are coming. Right?
Well,
no.
They didn't tell us how many jurors there were going to be.
There's 7 jurors.
Oh, that's right, because
now.
they count from Michelle. My fault. Yeah.
Michelle's
Sunday's 7th. Okay, forget that. You took that part out.
It's the same format as Cambodia last year.
Yeah.
All right, she continues. If Jay wins immunity, Jay, Adam, Hannah, Brett can vote out David. If David wins immunity, David, Ken, Hannah, Adam can vote out Jay. Such an exciting finale. Thanks, Sylvia.
Actually, if David, Ken, or Adam win immunity, they can vote out Jay. So Jay's got to
anybody other than Jay wins. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. If you don't get rid of Jay as soon as possible, you are stupid.
If you don't get rid of Jay, Jeremy, this season, you need to.
Yeah.
Jessica Lewis is in the chat room, but I want to tell you something about Jessica Lewis. Her lips are so tight. She will not say a word. So don't even bother asking Jessica in the chat room if the jury would have voted for anybody, because she won't tell you.
Atta girl, Jessica. Way to hold the secret, girl.
Man, that girl is man. She will not. It's like, was the sun hot? It's like, was it hot out there? I'm not allowed to talk about the season.
I actually reached out to her the episode after she got voted out, and part of the reason why I wanted to reach out to her was because she got voted out right before the loved ones visit, just like I did.
Yeah.
And we ended up talking a little, and she is an absolute doll. I know that David, you and I disagree on this, but I still say she did the right thing. I still say she made the right move. The only reason why she's the focus of everybody's conversation is because she's the one that drew the black rock, and that's the only reason why. I'm still defend you, Jessica. I still love you.
Well, I like the reasons. I just don't think I could have done it, which is why I guess I would presume it's the wrong move. So, so I give her all the credit.
And 5 other people did it. They just didn't draw the rock, so nobody talked about them. Every move that you make could either be the greatest move in the world or the dumbest move ever. It all depends on the outcome. It's not the move that dictates how smart or stupid it is. It's the outcome that dictates.
Right. Yep. All right, let's go on to Will Campbell, our next feedback. Hey, D&D, what a great penultimate episode full of head-scratching decisions and iffy strategy choices leading into the home stretch. I'm really not sure why the remaining players felt the need to eliminate someone who threw a temper tantrum about big moves just to remind people he's there, and someone who was perfect GOAT material to sit with at the end. Despite the questionable moves, it should lead to an amazing finale. In preparation for the finale, I wanted to discuss what I think would be the best final three scenario. My ideal final three would be Adam, David, and Jay. Each of them can say they found themselves at the bottom during the game, but managed to hang on and fight back. All three found and played idols, and all three have won individual immunity. And while David certainly has the most personal growth to show for the season, Adam and Jay have the tear-jerking backstory and motivation to win for their family. That could possibly be one of the best final threes ever.
Well, it wouldn't the fact that they're the three best remaining players, but I still think Jay would win. I don't think it'd be a hard-fought battle, because I think Jay would still win. I think a much closer battle would be just between, David and Adam, because I think Jay beats anybody still.
I don't think that would be I don't think Jay would walk away with that. I really don't. I'm not saying he wouldn't win. I'm saying I think even if it was Adam versus David, that would be a hard fought. But if you put all three of them in the mix, I think that would be way too close to tell. I would be shocked if that was a blowout by
I don't
any
think
one
it'd
of
be
those
a blowout.
three.
I just think that Jay would for sure get it. Probably
yeah.
Okay.
But my point is, when's the last time we had three people who were this close to winning in the final three?
I don't think
Who
ever.
were this strong.
This strong, right? Who were actually real, that we're talking about as real contenders.
Yeah, because nobody wants to sit next to somebody that's strong. It's a dumb move.
Ken does.
It's a foolish move. You want to sit next to GOATs. And to have that as the final three, it would be epic from the standpoint of the viewer, and it would be absolutely stupid, on the part of the players.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never see something like that. I'd be surprised if we do.
All right, he continues. I also see this final three having potentially the closest win margin. Jay could get votes from Michelle, Taylor, and Will. David could get votes from Ken, Jess, and Chris. Adam could receive votes from Zeke, Brett, and Sunday. Brett and Sunday never seemed too close with David, and at the beginning of this episode, they approached Adam about working together and even shook hands. Now, that one I'm going to disagree with, though. I think Sunday would vote for Jay because she talks about her relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, too.
So that's
how the vote would go. It'd probably be like 5-3-1 or 5-6-3-1, whatever that adds up to, but...
He continues, that would leave Hannah to decide and cast the winning vote, which I could honestly see being any of the above. But for the sake of this feedback, I'll say David pulls out the win in the end. Yeah, if Hannah's the deciding vote, it's definitely David. But I don't think his other names quite match up.
I don't see a 5-3-1, but I could see a tie. I could absolutely see a tie between two people.
That certainly could happen with
that.
These three players. That could
With
break
those,
up enough
if
votes.
that was the final three, I could absolutely see a tie between Jay and David, because I think Jay would steal some of Adam's votes.
Yeah,
and I think it would be a tie between Adam and David.
Oh, if it's you don't think?
Sorry, between David and Jay.
Jay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I could see a tie between David and Jay with that final three.
Yeah. So Will finishes. So there's my ideal final three. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. Thanks, Will Campbell from Raleigh, North Carolina, the East Coaster.
East Coast boy. That was good. That was good.
Yeah. We got smart listeners. So Dwaine is sitting back. I guess
I was chilling.
Like a bear rubbing his back on the back wall. I thought you were itching your back or something.
No, I was sitting on this chair back here.
He's still buzzing.
Does my mic sound okay since I've been having trouble tonight?
No, you're buzzing. So let me read. I'll read Lori's. Hi, guys. Great episode last night. All action. Well, yeah, I guess when it's all challenges, it does feel like all action. Will Boot was predictable, but not Sundays. Not sure what Hannah was thinking, but the women this season sure were anxious to get rid of all the other women. So Hannah is the last woman standing. An all-male Final 4 or 5 is a definite possibility. Not sure if that has happened before. Adam and Jay sharing their stories about their moms was very touching. It's hard to not root for both of them. Sorry if this is late. Lori from Venice, Florida. I'm telling you, this season, especially with the family visit, the loved ones visit, this season keeps getting more personable and making these people more likable people. So I agree. And then we got coming up 2 audio feedback that I hope don't scratch their way through.
Yeah. Well, how's my voice right now? Is it okay?
You're good now.
Now's good. So do it quick.
Right. I'm good at that. So here we go.
Hey, Dave and Dwayne. This is Mary M, aka Vader Girl, giving you guys a call. I wanted to make it in for the feedback deadline. Sorry, the holidays have been kind of kicking my booty, and so there's just been a lot going on. So I just want to thank you guys for your fellowship again and for providing this group and keeping us entertained through the holidays. All your hard work, you guys are amazing. And I did remember to put a link on my page where so I can now shop Amazon, and it's right there on the front of my iPhone so my ADHD doesn't forget. I've already done a purchase. And I guess about the show, I wanted to say I do feel David is winning, my original winner pick. I just saw him on his knees during the commercial for the preview. I just felt he had a rocky edit from there, like an Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. And then from the first episode, which I rewatched, he's also getting the hero music quite a bit. So I do feel like he's kind of the Revenge of the Nerds winner, and I'm very happy to see that because I also have neuroses and fears and panic like David and Hannah, and it's good to see them going far. I think it's very touching about Adam and his journey. It's been really affecting me. I'm just so proud of him for sharing his journey with us who lost our parents. I think it's beautiful that both Hannah's mother and Sunday are cancer survivors, and I'm just sending them lots of love. Because I know that his mother passed away right after filming within days, and I just hope he wins or was able to spend enough time with her. And I'm just sending him so much love. And thanks again for all you guys. It was a great episode last night. It's been lots of tears, lots of joy, lots of fun. It'll be interesting to see. My prediction is David, Hannah, Ken at the end, and I think David wins. We'll love to see if Jay can use his advantage to steal Ken's advantage. And we'll see. I have a feeling Jay is not going to last much longer. So, anyway, sending you guys lots of love out of it today. It's just been a really rough holiday. That's why I really appreciate all you guys have done. And may the force be with you. Black cats and kale. Drink lots of water, guys. Avoid sugar. Avoid saccharin and tea. And God bless. Bye-bye.
All right. I didn't get the list of everything I'm supposed to avoid. So if you could play that part
I thought I heard
Okay.
Cochran in there.
This is why I will never be on the show because I look horrible in a buff.
Turn to your left. There you go. Perfect.
Does that look better?
I don't know.
No.
No, not really. Nice try, Adam. That's why Adam won, because he got you to turn to your
How
left.
does everybody look so good in a buff but me?
Wait, did you just call me Adam?
That sounded really awful.
I did.
You did. It's like
Everybody looks good in the buff but me. Good job,
right.
Here I am.
There's that positivity that we're getting from this cast.
Yep.
There's just a bunch of likable people.
Bunch of positivity. Yes, positivity.
Did we just get positive because Dan left? Where did
Wait,
Dan
yeah,
go?
where'd Dan go?
Where did Dan go?
North Pole was calling.
I don't know. All right, let's move on. Who's next? We have
Kirk.
one more.
Nelson in our
All
audio.
right.
Hi, Dwayne and David. This is Kirk, one of your loyal listeners. I was just wondering, who is David's favorite to win this whole season, and who is your favorite, Dwayne, to win the whole season? I'm just kind of curious. I'll sit back and listen. Talk to you later. Bye. Kirk.
Well, there you go.
I think we should make Ryan go first.
Favorite as in who? Well, I guess both. The answer I would say if favorite is who I want to win or who I think will win. I think it's both though. I would say it's still going to be David.
Is he from the beginning, the whole season?
Yeah, well, I would probably say. I was rooting for Zeke. I think probably Zeke was probably my number one with David number two for the most of the season. Yeah, Ken was kind of up there until he kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
My pick in the beginning was actually Figgy because I thought she could play the social game well. I thought she could play well, this is preseason. Still preseason. I
Oh,
know.
okay.
It was way. Oh no, I'm not picking her now. No, I think it's kind of. Come on.
Yeah, David, pick her
That's
now.
that's why he didn't make the merge. No. So, but I think who I was pulling for was actually Adam. I really liked his preseason videos. I liked his joy in just playing the game. You could see it and listening to it in his voice. I still like him. I think right now my pick though is Jay. I just think Jay's going to find a way to get to the end. They can't get rid of the guy. They keep talking about David, but they can't get rid of Jay either. So I think it's easy to pick David as well, but I'll pick Jay. I'll stick with my pre-episode 13 pick that we did in our little patron podcast.
Which, by the way, the patron podcast was amazing.
Yes.
And I have a surprise for those that listen to the entire end of the show or watch the entire show. Since like 2% of the people that watch on YouTube actually make it to the end.
Where'd you get that number from?
From YouTube analytics.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I would say as of now, I'm wanting David to win. Yeah, there you go.
So your story arc has come full circle from not liking watching him to wanting him to win.
You know what I like about him now? He's
What?
not the whiny little guy that's getting lucky. Now he's playing a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I was annoyed by the whiny getting lucky.
Yeah, and your annoyance wasn't him. It was just the way he was playing or the way he was being shown, I guess is what you were talking about. It
I
wasn't.
don't think you guys was like super lucky. I mean, I guess he found the idol. I mean, but
Okay, well, he was whiny.
okay, I'll give you that.
And it was annoying. I have a low tolerance for whiny.
Speaking of whiny, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry
And that's
about
the
that.
show, y'all. It's been great. We're
David,
Oh,
you're
man.
still and will always be the good one in my book.
Yes, yes. Y'all, it's time to give away a Survivor buff because Survivor buffs are awesome, and Buff
What's that, the one
USA.
you're wearing?
In the buff,
Do what?
hold on. You want me in the buff? Hold on.
No, Dan.
What?
I am
We're not giving away Dan in the buff. We're giving away a buff.
Oh.
I am wearing the merge buff. Do you have a merge buff, Ryan?
No, I usually just go for I usually just pick a tribe for pre-merge and get one of those. So I had the Vanilla buff.
All right. So, David, how many people do I need to ask Siri to choose from?
7.
Again.
Yep.
All right. Remember, we're giving away buff because of buffusa.com/SurvivorTalk33. Use that link to go buy yourself some of those amazing gloves that I bought, the MXS2s. All right. Pick a number between 1 and 7.
It's 2.
Hey, better late than never. The last feedback that came in was Kirk Nelson, and he's the winner of the buff this week.
Kirk. Good job, Kirk. Congratulations. Sylvia is upset. She's yet to win one. Sorry. Some people won 2. Some people didn't win any. I feel terrible for those people. But thank you, Buff, for giving away a buff. And Kirk, I will message you, and you will tell me which one you want. All right? All right. Pondering Ponderosa.
Pondering Ponderosa.
So did anybody else notice how much more there was to Sunday's Ponderosa video than there was to Will's?
Well, did you also notice they forgot to post Will's? It came out 3 hours later.
Yeah. Sundays came out so fast that it was in my email before I actually had a chance to watch the episode. I almost got spoiled as to who got voted out because it popped up in my email.
Yeah. It's like they were still trying to find things to put in Will's because there just wasn't enough.
That's
Wait a minute.
exactly what I thought.
Wait a minute, didn't they play a game with Will? Let's put the
They
game.
did. They told him pretty good. They told him that
I want to
they.
take charge of Ponderosa.
He was a little upset with the game thing. I understand the game and all, but They didn't have to do it for a whole 24 hours.
Well, only because he wasn't in on it. If he was in on the game, it'd be a fun game.
Yeah,
That's right. He didn't control the game.
And then can you imagine? He'd be like, "Okay, so we're gonna do the game on Sunday, right?" And they're like, "Nah."
I really hope that happens.
Nah, we don't like that game anymore.
Well, Will even said, "I don't think we need to carry that on any further."
A stupid game.
Yeah. Those a lot like high school when I used to get picked on. And stuff.
When they used to throw me in lockers and lock it in the locker. I'm a man now. Don't do that anymore.
That was great. Zeke was an FBI agent, and Jessica had been in jail in China.
Yeah. Will, they
No,
didn't show this.
Whenever Taylor was like, "Oh, I'm a soccer player," like, "Oh, Will was like, oh yeah, he looks like a soccer player." It's like,
And Taylor was good. He was just stone faced. Just yep, that's what I do.
Yeah. They had a secret Ponderosa scene where Will got his first razor at Ponderosa.
and if all,
easy.
It is, and if all the jokes weren't enough, Zeke greets him at the door with a Sprite.
Yeah, they got just Sprite. Michelle's over there drunk on vodka. Zeke's like, if I was in high school, I could drink all I wanted, but now I'm here and I can't.
All right, so we've talked about his. Now let's talk about the other one. The one
all
that
right, hold on. He lost 20 pounds. Big deal. Okay. Yeah, you're right. We did touch on everything, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, time for Sunday. All right, first thing I want to say, and I know Sunday listens to the show. I don't know if she's made it 2 hours in. Crap. All right.
Yeah. I'll just say that it was good that this is what to me Ponderosa is. It's the recovery thing. It's the getting back to being regular people with these other people. And I would have hated to think that people weren't going to be speaking till the end of Ponderosa, because even Zeke and Chris made up. Chris was like pulling the Jason and Scott thing where they wouldn't even talk to what was her name? Sydney, thank you. And then Chris was like, wasn't even going to talk to Zeke. And by the end, they were talking on the beach and having their chat. And the same thing happened with Sunday and Jess, where they were just kind of keeping their distance to a point until they just finally came together and talked. And by the end, they were sitting on the water, sitting by the pool, just having their chats. So
Yeah.
I that's the part of Ponderosa I enjoy. People kind of dropping the Survivor game for a minute and talking real life.
So you don't like the Abby Maria versus what was her name?
RC.
What was her name?
RC.
RC. Yeah. Oh my God, the worst laugh in the world.
You're dead to me. Yeah, you're dead to me.
Yes. Yeah. Now get out of my face. Yeah.
All right. Am I buzzing again or am I okay?
You're good.
You're all right. Whatever.
All right.
You're okay now.
I just want to say this to Sunday, if you're still listening 2 hours in. If not, I'll just message you. Gorgeous eyes.
I said the same thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Who?
Wow. Sunday. Her eyes.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
Man.
like that crystal blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway. Now, well, I'm not going to go into that.
So how about those Patriots, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's family-friendly show, so.
Cue the awkward silence and go.
Yeah. It's family-friendly, so I'm going to just move on.
That's as risque as we're allowed to get, huh?
Yeah. But speaking of Jessica, she was nervous about
me? Is it just me, or every time Jessica walks into tribal council, she looks like she just got done being oiled up for a Tropicana bikini ad?
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. The cameramen are fighting over who gets to oil Jessica up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got
Well,
Jessica
they should.
duty.
Oh, and you know it's fight to the death with torches somewhere out back somewhere.
Yeah. What? Sunday's going to go talk to Jessica? I'll get the oil.
I love that Jessica's like watching this right now.
Do what?
I love that Jessica's probably watching this right now.
Well, yeah, she's in the chat room.
Yeah.
She's laughing.
Yeah, she's laughing a lot, going, yeah, that's true. But what's funny is they didn't oil Sunday up. They just oiled Jessica up. Anyway.
Well, Sunday hasn't been to tribal yet, so maybe they'll get her next week.
All right, so she was greeted by Michelle and everyone else except Jessica because Jessica was having a little tantrum.
Don't make fun of Jessica. See, that's why you're evil, Dwaine.
I'm only doing it because I know she's in there. Zeke gave her a Diet Coke. Zeke is the you don't drink alcohol, here's your drink person.
Here you go, Junior, and a little pat on the top of the head.
Yeah. Here's your Diet Coke.
It's got an umbrella in it, though, so you can feel like it's a real drink.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed, Jessica's giving me a mad face, but one thing I've noticed about Ponderosa is,
That's probably not all she's giving you, but go ahead.
Okay, so oh wait, there's a middle finger emoji. I didn't know that. So
there's a poop.
Give her the poo emoji.
Go ahead. Sunday's like I betrayed Jessica, but to me it's just a game. But based on what they showed, she was smart enough to sit back for a little bit and wait till the time was right to talk to Jessica. And then, of course, Jessica's a grown woman. She can handle this. She and Sunday make up, or at least they're friendly and they're nice now. And they're like, why, I don't need to be mad over all this. And I love seeing that in the Ponderosa videos because they did experience this thing that no one else experienced.
Well, yeah, they were together at one point, and then they did the damage control. Sunday talks about it. I was just reading today. And then right after that, they got split up. So they never really got to be together or work together again until the merge. And by then, at the time it passed, it had stewed and it was still there, and it just never came back around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is so easy to sit back as a fan and say, I'm going to go in cold and not make bonds and not connect with it. You can't do that. Let me rephrase before people start hating on me more. It is difficult to do that.
No, I think I would agree with you. I mean, I don't think you can't win if you don't do that. I mean, if you don't make relationships with people, you're not going to win the game. So you have to.
Right.
Right now, David's pretty glad that he made relationships.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
David needed to, though. He had to. He was such a fish out of water story, but his growth has been immense, and he didn't do it on his own. So he needed to have those relationships. And it's very difficult to spend that much time nonstop with people and not form some kind of bond. Forget the game, just the human side of things. But it's when you get voted out, and I'll still stand by this. If you are not crying or angry when you get voted out, you were not truly there to play the game. You were just there to be in the game.
Yeah.
And people can hate me, whatever. I don't care. I still believe that.
Well, I go back.
If I was playing and David voted me out and David came to Ponderosa afterwards, I would be very mad at him. I'd probably make him, he wouldn't care, but I wouldn't talk to him for a day.
You wouldn't talk to me? That would not upset me. See, that would.
Yeah, he'd be like, good, but he's not talking to me.
Because everybody else would probably talk to me. See, that goes back what Dan was saying right before that about the being upset when you get voted out. It's that's the big payoff to me for David is that in episode 1 or 2, you had Chris, you had Paul, you had Brett saying, look at that little guy running around looking for idols. He's got to go. And suddenly David finds Ken. Ken's like, yeah, I'm on the bottom too. And now that relationship has paid off all the way to episode 13.
Yes, it has.
That's a great story. That's really good. I love that. Beginning, he was targeted because he was looking for an idol, and now he's sitting like in a leadership position.
Right. All right, so the last thing about Sunday's Ponderosa video that I really appreciated.
Right now.
What? What do you say?
You're buzzing again.
All right, we'll talk about how she said I got me back.
That was good. I mean, she went out there, and I think the game put her through like a ringer in the sense that she wanted to be more. I don't know. I would have a hard time explaining that. I'm hoping you come back and explain what you got out of it.
Okay, can you hear me yet?
Yeah.
Well, she specifically said there was a phase of her life where she overcame breast cancer, and this has allowed her to shut that door and to go back to the Sunday she was before that. I got me back.
Okay.
And I just think that's that's a neat thing to be able to say. Not only did you play one of the greatest reality TV games there is, but you had a truly life-changing experience while you were doing it, more so than just playing the game. So
I've actually got a friend that lives down in the Baltimore area who also just fought breast cancer and won. And I absolutely love this woman to pieces. I mean, she's one of those people that if she picked up the phone right now and said, "I need you," I would jump in the car and go. I would just go there without a second thought.
But Dan, you would do that for anybody. I mean, seriously. No?
That is it's a very nice thing to say, Dwaine. Seriously, thank you. The people that I consider close to me, yeah. I mean, that's who I am. It's the person that I am. And one of the things that she had told me was in the middle of all of her procedures, in the middle of all of it, her attitude was so positive. I called her on a regular basis to touch base, make sure she was okay. I always used to call her up and people used to send prayers and I used to tell her, "I'm sending you strength." And she's like, "You have no idea how many times I looked forward to your phone call."
Yeah.
And once she hit the point where they actually diagnosed her with remission, she said, "Now it's time to find out who I am again," because the cancer had defined me for so long. And now it's time to find out who I am now that this is behind me. And, listening to Sunday say something like that, it literally, it sends chills up my spine because it makes me think of Beth. And, that's an amazing story.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who wonder why I would say that about Dan, because I've been around Dan and I've hung around him at his house and stuff. And Dan strikes me as the kind of friend who would bend over backwards to help you if you were needing help. And Dan's just that kind of guy. So that's why I said that. So, anyway.
Well, seriously, I mean, as much as you and I jab at each other, it's always in good fun. And, we jab because we know that we can. But yeah, I take my friendships very, very deeply and very personally. Yeah. And I just think we're supposed to be here, to connect and to do what's right. I don't always get it right. I'm not, I'm a sinner.
No.
I may be a sinner, but I am trying. So.
Well, if I ever get stranded in Maine, I know who to call.
That's right. Mike Holloway. Yeah.
And I'll
absolutely.
say I'm David.
Oh, then I'll come running.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say, "It's David. I'm stuck in," and then you'll come pick me up. You'll go, "Dadgummit."
That wascally wabbit twicked me again.
All right. If you're playing the D&D Survivor Challenge, we have an update for you. David's going to tell it.
Oh, before we get to that, Ryan, did you have anything else? Because you were starting to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, that's kind of why I like the Ponderosa segments, because you kind of get to know people more than you did, like in Sunday's case, more than you did on the show. And it's kind of nice to see, basically why they were cast, because they're just really interesting people. So I thought that's what I really had to say. But
that's a good observation and an unfortunate observation in that we got more from Sunday, probably from Ponderosa, than they let us get
the game
from
itself.
The season.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, if you're playing the D&D challenge, the big winner this week was Jay with 36 points. If you had him, which I'm not one of those that did. The lowest score, who do you think got the lowest score points? Because you guys kind of know the confessionals, the wins. Who do you think got the lowest score this week?
It's got to be Sunday. No wins, no confessionals, voted out.
She got like 2 more points than David. He only got 7 points. I mean, that's how almost invisible David was this time. He had 1 or 2 confessionals, but otherwise he was invisible. I mean, he didn't win anything. He didn't, he was covered.
Wow. I'd like to see that data.
Well, it's on the website. I mean, it's on our Facebook group.
On our Facebook group, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we don't have any iTunes reviews, but if you'd like to leave us a review, you can do so on iTunes, and we'd love to hear it. We're also available on iHeartRadio, which I like, iHeartRadio. So before we say goodbye, I just want to say a quick thanks to our guest, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Thanks for writing on our website. I hope you will do so again in season 34.
Oh, I will.
Wonderful. So it's a pleasure to have you on. And thank you, Dan, for being on the show.
Always a pleasure, guys. Ryan, it was a pleasure to meet you too.
Pleasure's all mine, Dan.
As he laughs. David, it was nice having you on the show too, David. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for treating me like a regular guest, Dwayne. That's nice of you.
David, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you're too kind. If you want to hear a good Dan story, go back and listen to our post-Durham Warriors, Amanda, Ryan, and Jason podcast where Amanda tells her story about how she met Dan. Go back and listen to that podcast. And you know who Amanda is. She's the girl on the bus.
The girl on the bus goes round and round, round and round.
That ended up staying at your house. But yeah, that's the story that she tells.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
That's a good story.
Yep. Just a quick thanks to all of you for being a part of the D&D family and for listening to our shows. Visit our website, stwdd.com, for all that stuff I mentioned above. Enjoy your week. See you, everybody. Everybody say bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
See ya.
I'm a survivor. Devil's a liar. I'm living for the king and my soul is on fire. So if you feel me, put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air.
Hey, everybody, here's some links to 2 videos. Our latest D&D Extra video. That's right. We're giving it away free for those who watch all the way to the end of this one. You get to see it because you hung around. Also, an older episode we did with Kelly Wentworth and Dan Foley. As you can see, there's Kelly laughing at Dan right there. And it's always good to, well, let me put on mine so that it stays up. All right, there we go. So click on that. That's always a fun one to watch. And, of course, you can go to Survivor Talk website, subscribe on YouTube, become a D&D patron. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night.